You're listening to the main event with Zach Gelb and Chase Sr. on WHIP.
There it is. It's the Eagles fight song right here on Philly's #1 college radio station, WHIP. It is draft day. Time in the studio right now is 1:17. And the one question that everyone is wondering here in Philadelphia, will Chip Kelly get his guy in Marcus Mariota? Well, we'll find out tonight. So now let's go out to the hotline and welcome in. He's an Eagles reporter for the Philadelphia Daily News, and that is Les Bowen. Les, it's Zach and Chase here in Philly. Thanks for a few minutes. How are you?
Just fine. How are you guys?
Well, we're doing great, and we're just sitting here trying to figure out if it's going to happen tonight, and is Marcus Mariota going to be a Philadelphia Eagle? That's what this offseason really has been about. A lot of speculation at the quarterback position. Nick Foles got traded. In comes Sam Bradford. But a lot of people are not sold on Sam Bradford because of his injury past. We all know the relationship between Chip Kelly and Marcus Mariota. I know it is almost impossible to predict it, but I want your guess. Is Marcus Mariota a Philadelphia Eagle by the end of tonight?
You know, I've been a skeptic on this all the way through, and I have to stick with that, although there's a lot being said today, and it's really easy to get caught up in the excitement and kind of change your stance. But really, I haven't seen any reason to change my stance. I just don't. There's two basic problems with the Eagles getting Mariota. One is, one of the top two teams has to think that Mariota is not a franchise quarterback, because you don't trade franchise quarterbacks for anything, which is why the Eagles are trying to get one. The other thing is, somebody with a draft pick better than 20, where the Eagles are, has to not want to trade up and give more than the Eagles can give, especially in this draft. And I just think for both of those things to happen is unlikely. I think somebody will take Mariota first or second, and I doubt it will be the Eagles. Is it impossible that it's the Eagles? No, certainly not. But I think chances are against it.
Yeah, I could definitely see what you're talking about, because they may have to go through not one but two teams to get to that Tennessee pick, especially if they have to go through Cleveland and get rid of Sam Bradford and then jump from the Cleveland pick all the way up to the Tennessee Titans. But at this point, really, Les, nothing would surprise me with Chip Kelly, because if we just look at some of the names that have been moved and also...
There's so much that's happened this offseason that if you'd asked me in December, DeMarco Murray and Sam Bradford be in the Eagles' backfield, and will Tim Tebow be backing up? I wouldn't have given that any more chance than I give Mariota right now. So, yeah.
And you just see the names. You said it. Foles out of town. In comes Bradford. Then they signed Tim Tebow. Then the next thing you know, LaShawn McCoy's out. DeMarco Murray's in. And also Kiko Alonso comes to Philadelphia as well. You covered the Eagles for a long time for the Philadelphia Daily News. To you, is this the most interesting offseason you ever covered?
There have been some interesting offseasons. That's a tough ranking. Probably it is at this point. At least this early part is the most interesting. There have been some training camps, like in 2011 when they came back from the lockout and signed, half a dozen named free agents in 2 days. The year that T.O. was doing the sit-ups in his driveway in the training camp, that was kind of interesting and different. But as far as this time of year, yes, I've been covering the Eagles since 2002. I would say the early off-season from January to the end of April is certainly the most eventful and interesting that I've ever covered.
Les Bowen of the Philadelphia Daily News is our guest right now on the WHIP NFL Draft Day special. Les, it's Chase. There's really two prisms and sides to this potential deal. One is people think that the Eagles are going to have to give up too much to get Marcus Mariota, especially if you throw a Fletcher Cox, Michael Kendricks, and some picks into the mix. And then there's the other side where people are saying, okay, if this is a quarterback-head coach marriage that could last 10 years and Chip Kelly truly believes that Mariota is a franchise quarterback, do anything you have to do to get your guy. Where do you fall on that?
Yeah, if he really is a franchise quarterback, you have to have one of those to win the Super Bowl these days. It's been more than a decade since anybody won a Super Bowl with a Brad Johnson or a Trent Dilfer. I don't think you can play defense anymore at the level that the 2002 Tampa Bay Bucks played it, or the 2001 Baltimore Ravens played it, that you can afford to have a journeyman quarterback. So if Mariota is that guy, then there really isn't too much that you could possibly give up if he is that guy. But it's just so hard to know if he is that guy. Teams that have traded up for quarterbacks over the years, you just saw it with RG3 in Washington. It's turned out to be a disaster in most cases. So, it's a crucial, pivotal moment in the history of this franchise, I think.
Take us through what a day like this is like for you and what the free agency frenzy was like for you. How often are you on your phone? How often are you checking emails and making calls?
I'm on Twitter constantly. I call a few people. I reached out to Mariota's agent last night, who's a guy that I've known for a while. I tried to be, I know everybody's trying to get hold of this guy right now, so I sent, kind of a funny text like, hey, just checking in, no particular reason. Hi, how are you doing? What's up? By the way, don't you represent a quarterback in this draft? Is anything happening with that? Hoping that, to kind of keep the lines of communication open, basically. But nothing is going to happen this afternoon. I mean, you can't trade up for Tennessee's pick until you know for 100% certainty that Tampa Bay has drafted Jameis Winston.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, that would be kind of bad if you traded half your team for the number 2 pick and then Tampa Bay decided to draft Mariota. That would not be a good thing. So, there won't be any trade until 8 o'clock or after tonight, but it's like you just can't look away from Twitter right now. I mean, it's just, there's so much being said and so many theories being thrown out there. I just can't wait for 8 o'clock to be here. It's a beautiful day, and I'd like to be outside, frankly, but I'm not.
And the fake accounts are just unbearable, Les. These fake accounts with these stupid reports. I just want to report every single person that puts out a fake report out there.
Yeah, that's stupid. And I got suckered in today. It wasn't a fake account. Somebody took an old Adam Schefter tweet that turned out not to be true about the Eagles getting back their second-round pick for Sam Bradford if they traded Bradford. And I retweeted that without really looking at it. And then I realized something that was not right, and it had been corrected a long time ago. And why would somebody do that? I don't get it. I get parody accounts where you're trying to make fun of somebody. That's great. Some of those are hilarious. But why you want to pretend to be a reporter and trick thousands of people into thinking something has happened that hasn't happened? That would not thrill or amuse me if I were doing it, and I don't get why it thrills and amuses other people.
Yeah, you got to be careful of the Philadelphia trolls out there on social media. I got my phone juiced up right now, and it's bad for us because it's finals week, Les. So we're trying to focus on these finals where, and I'm still looking at Twitter, but all these transactions during this offseason have kind of left the Eagles with a lot of glaring holes. There's not a safety opposite of Malcolm Jenkins. There's really not a cornerback set in stone opposite of Byron Maxwell. I look at the offensive line. They're shopping Evan Mathis. Todd Herremans has gone to the Colts. What areas of concern do you have with the Eagles, and where do you see them targeting in this draft?
Well, you don't want to go into it thinking we have to get X in the first round and Y in the second round. I mean, you want to be open. The positions that I think ought to be addressed early would be wide receiver, safety, offensive line. I think those are the 3 most crucial needs, and you kind of look at what's available in each of the early rounds and see what lines up with that. However, if the best player available in the first round is an edge rusher, I think you probably take him and then figure it out from there. It's always a bad idea to pass up a superstar player because you think you're okay at that position. If you have somebody that's ranked way over everybody else on the board, you take that guy. just like the Green Bay Packers took Aaron Rodgers in 2005. But I would think wide receiver is a very good shot at 20. There'll be several highly regarded wide receivers. I would think corner, and particularly a corner who might be able to swing to safety, like Byron Jones, who I have mocked for the Eagles, or Eric Rowe from Utah, a pure corner like Kevin Johnson from Wake Forest. I think they're going to be good players at those spots available. I'm not sure I would take an offensive lineman at 20, but they're not going to get the first couple guys, and after that, I think maybe there'll be just as much value in the second or third round. But they could get a D-back, they could get a wide receiver at 20 who would I think be a future star.
We're spending a few minutes with Les Bowen from the Philadelphia Daily News. He covers the Eagles all the way since 2002. He joins us right now here on WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station. I'm Zach Gelb. He is Chase Sr. So let's just say if the Eagles don't get Mariota, and it's what you were just talking about, they pick a corner or someone else in the secondary, or a wide receiver, an offensive lineman, that means Sam Bradford's going to be the starting quarterback, in my opinion. And I don't have a whole lot of confidence in Sam Bradford because he's never been able to stay healthy. If Bradford is the guy for the Eagles, where's your confidence level at with him leading the Eagles?
The healthy part is really the two ACL. I think Chip Kelly's a smart guy. They have to have really looked into this and be confident that he's not, that his knee isn't 2 snaps away from just falling apart completely. I have some confidence. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he was playing very well when he got hurt in 2013. If they go with that, I think there's a good chance it'll work. We'll see if they're going to go with it or not. I really think everybody, including Sam Bradford, is kind of on pins and needles right now, seeing if that really is their plan.
Before we let you run, Les, I want to just get a quick yes or no on a few players because there's been so many rumors here in Philadelphia in the last week and even today, just waking up and looking at Twitter like we discussed. I'm going to give you a few names. I just want to hear if you think they're going to be here by the end of this weekend. We'll start off with Fletcher Cox. Will he be an Eagle by the end of the weekend?
I have to think so. I would really lose some faith in Chip Kelly's judgment if he traded Fletcher Cox just because he was drafted under another regime. I think Fletcher Cox is a stud defensive lineman. I think he fits the 3-4 very well. I just don't see how you end up trading Fletcher Cox unless it's for Mariota. But the other move that gets rid of Fletcher Cox, I'm not in favor of.
How about Michael Kendricks?
There again, I'm not a big fan of that either. I understand Michael's going to the last year of his rookie contract. I am told there have been no contract discussions, so it's not like the discussions are going poorly. If they get rid of Michael Kendricks, it'll be because he isn't tall.
I don't understand that.
I don't understand that. And if you're going to, the report yesterday from Jason LaCanfora was that they're looking for a second-round pick, which is what Kendricks was 3 years ago. You better be darn sure you're going to draft a better player in the second round this year. And I think that would be hard to do, frankly. I don't much like that either, but I don't really understand. Something going on here I don't quite get. Kendricks isn't in OTAs. He's out in California. I keep getting different answers on why he's not in OTAs. There is some issue here somewhere that we'll eventually find out about, but I think there's a good chance Kendricks is not an Eagle at the end of the weekend.
How about Brandon Boykin?
Same thing. I think Brandon wants to play outside. That's where the money is if you're a corner. The Eagles don't think he fits their template of what you need to be an outside corner. I think they're going to leave. They're going to part company eventually over something, And probably this weekend is as good a time as any, And it's a bit of a shame because again, I think he's a good player. I can kind of see their point a little better there. I do like the idea of the big corners outside. But again, you better come up with a second big corner to go with Byron Maxwell. Otherwise, Boykin is probably the best corner on the roster, and you're trading him away.
And this one will be very telling. Sam Bradford.
I think he is, just because, like what I said before, I think it's unlikely that you can get Mariota from where they are in the draft. I don't think you trade Bradford for anything else. I'd be shocked if that happened. But, I think Bradford's here, but I don't have a high level of confidence in that prediction, certainly.
Well, Les, we'll be sitting tonight on the couch with the remote in hand, probably have some chicken wings, get some popcorn and all those good snacks as we anticipate to see what is going to happen in the draft. It's definitely been a really compelling offseason. I bet you will get even a little bit more exciting tonight once we finally know what the Eagles do. We appreciate a few minutes. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Les. Enjoy it.
There's Les Bowen from the Philadelphia Daily News. And we're going to go to Danny right now. Danny's calling in